I'm Jim with Pizzazz Films, Jeeping Journeys, and this is Tom, a little Jeeping mentor of mine. And today we're going to go over Tom's Jeep from start to finish when he got it to his latest upgrade. And so I'm going to cut here and go to Tom, and we'll start with the Jeep, his purchase, and everything he's done since then. Let's go. So Tom, tell me when you first got your Jeep and what it was, what upgrade you had or what it didn't have.
Yeah, well, I've been a sports car guy for a long time, and you know that.
Oh yeah,
world.
Yeah,
so I was looking for something else a little more fun that I hadn't been in the automotive industry for a while, or in sports cars or whatever. So I thought, yeah, this would be more fun. Kids are older, and they can go with me or whatever. So I got it in 2021. So not too long ago.
Oh, it's 2021?
The Jeep is a 2020.
Okay.
I bought it used because it was a lot less expensive. It only had 8,000 miles on it.
Oh.
And it was towed behind a motorhome. So it was, just an old lady's Jeep.
Lift, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what else he's done since then.
All right, we're going to start in the front, go front to back instead of chronologically. It'll be a little easier to track. So yeah, when I got it, it just had the Fox, the Mopar 2-inch lift, and that was really it on the lift on 33-inch tires. Yeah, this is the very first thing I did. I wanted a winch because I didn't want to get out there, and I didn't know anybody else with a Jeep at the time, and I didn't want to be out in Tahoe or somewhere on my own and not be able to get out of trouble. So first thing I did was shorten the bumper and buy the winch. And it was only like $400, so much better deal than, I think it's $800 for the Warren, or even more if you get the fancy version of the Warren. The bumper was pretty easy, taking off the wings. And then I had to buy the winch plate. I didn't realize that, as a newbie, I didn't know anything about all this stuff, and so I just watched videos and learned that way. But I bought the winch plate, put that on, took the bumper off, attached the winch plate, put it back on. That whole process was not much more than an hour, and maybe another 30 minutes or so to figure out how to wire things up. I had to watch a video on that too. So moving on back, we'll go look in the inside real quick. These are just some fun things that I got off the internet. The hood shocks.
Oh yeah.
That was really easy, but it's super handy, and you can take them off real quick if you need to flip the lid back. But Trail Recon, Brad over there, watch that video, and that's what gave me this idea. And then of course the winch comes up through here and is tied to the battery. Not too long ago, I bought the aux beam switch panel so I can have more lights when I'm at camp, and that tied into the fuse box here. This is a 60 amp fuse here that helps with the aux beam panel. We'll see the switch panel in a minute. And then I added the KC lights up front, with the orange ones to help with driving in the dust. Tahoe gets super dusty, and same with the Death Valley area. And then that's really it outside of my burrito cooker. So always nice to heat the burrito or the hot dogs while you're on trail.
That's awesome.
Oh, the other thing I did over here, I forgot. This is always important when the Jeeps, especially JLs, are at an incline. If you get stuck there for any length of time, oil can build up in the sump, and it gets to smoke out the back. So the catch can here will catch excess oil when you're not at an optimal angle. So my idea is to build kind of a Crawlander or Rocklander. I like both. Crawling, not super serious on crawling. I don't probably won't ever do Fordyce, but I like the Rubicon, so things like that. Okay. So I think the Rubicon is the ultimate overlanding because it's point A to point B. You're moving and camping 2 or 3 nights over the haul. All right, so then the next thing I did, I wanted to beef up some of the things that could break, because I have taken some mechanics classes, but I don't want to have trail breakage if avoidable, which is never 100%, but if I knew it was weak link, I wanted to fix it. So down here, track bar and drag link, kind of updated those things. So this is from WFO, it's much beefier. And then up here, you can see, that's hard to see, but that's also been upgraded with the drop bracket there. And then the most recent thing I did was I got 38-inch tires, but I did upgrade to RCV chromoly axles in the rear and RCV in the front. And these are the larger ones, so that's nice to have. And then the Metal Cloak 3.5-inch springs, dual rate springs here, and then their tie rod ends. So these are the Method 703 bead grip. The bead locks are great. I mean, that's probably the best, but the bead grips are the next best thing because I can go down to around 10 psi, even lower in the snow because you don't have the lateral forces. And it's got ridges on the inside of both sets of the rims to hold the tire on, even though it doesn't have a bead lock. So, and also, if I ever get in an accident, living in California, I don't have to worry about an attorney saying, "Oh, you got illegal wheels; they're not DOT approved." You know, so in California, you have to think about stuff like that. The next thing I did was I knew I was going to go on the Rubicon area for rock crawling, and the stock Rubicon sliders, they really don't cut it. Mostly this is cosmetic, just to cover the pinch seam here. That's why this is on here, because you really don't need it. And then I bought these heavy-duty rock sliders. They're bolted to the frame. Super sturdy, and these are from Ace Engineering, and one of the best purchases I've done because it really protects the Jeep. All right, so laying underneath the Jeep, you can see the sliders are well used. Again, they bolted with the frame bolts here. And that's it. I mean, if you're going to be out in the rocks or anything, even overlanding or rock crawling, you want a protection. So I had the sliders. And then from there, I bought some skids. I went with Rusty's off-road transfer case skid here. And that's new. And then also the engine skid, which is right here. That's been, you can see the marks on there. So I've hit that a few times. So it's not a mall crawler, it gets used. And the other thing is, I am running 38s and I wanted more protection. I probably could have gone with the stock drive shaft, but they suggested heavy duty drive shaft, so we got a new drive shaft front and rear on the Jeep, so like that. More protection going to the rear. We went with the metal cloak diff cover in the back. I don't have one in the front. I think I'm more apt to hit it in the rear, but probably should upgrade the front diff cover also. All right, so the next thing I did, which not absolutely, I could have just gone with the full metal cloak 3.5-inch game changer, great lift. But I want to drive my Jeep places, and I take long trips like to Utah or Moab. So the long arm, besides being great in the rocks, it's really comfortable, and it makes a much more comfortable ride for those long, 14, 15-hour drives. So WFO makes a really great product. They're a local company, tested in the Rubicon. They're up in Auburn, and I went with their long arm kit and welded up here. These are things I couldn't do myself. All right, in the back I went with an Ironman steel bumper. Originally I was just going to run the stock bumper, but in the Rubicon, when I went with Jeepers Jamboree last year, turns out that there's a couple of bolts that go under here, and when you hit the back bumper, it really smashes up that pinch seam on the Jeep, so that was bad. The other thing is the stock license plate sits here. When you hit the back bumper, it tends to eject the license plate, so I lost that on the trail. It was kind of funny because I ran into Kevin and Brittany, the Light Bright Nation, and the same thing had happened to their Jeep when they had it brand new, and so I was on their video. We were laughing about that. All right, the next thing I did, I went to Moab a few months ago for the Jeep Jamboree, but on the way there's one trail in Utah that's a Badge of Honor trail, and that one is Rocky Gap. So I wanted to go down a day early. The problem is I rolled in at night. When I was turning on the trail, I couldn't see left or right. I could see straight in front of me, but when you turn, you can't see. So I said, ditch light's got to be next. So now I've got them angled out at about 30 degrees so I can see when I turn where the heck I'm going. And that's hooked into the aux beam switch panel right here. So I have just a couple of hookups right now. I've got those lights and then some backup lights. All right, that's pretty much the suspension, the Jeep itself. The rest of the stuff, you're talking about the overlanding stuff. Originally I had a tent, and I really like the tent. It's an Alpha 2, but it's 150 pounds. And when I was in Death Valley, there was an off-camber down left turn, and I really felt the weight of that tent pull me over. And I said, I got to get rid of that top-heavy tent. So this inspired Overland tent only weighs 80 pounds. It's a wedge style, so not 150, 160. Some of those tents weigh almost 200 pounds. It's just too much up top. So that's why I went with the wedge style, really lightweight tent. And that's worked out well. These are great too. The trail rack system for carrying your fuel. So I can carry 2 Rotopacks on either side, and propane if I need to. I've got it set up for propane on the other side, and a diesel heater for the wintertime. That's my overlanding fun stuff. And then back here, a couple of additions. Of course, everybody's got the overlanding fridge. I mean, that's a game changer. No more ice, water, problems with the Yeti that they don't work that great for multiple day trips. And I put that on just a piece of plywood here. Took out the stock system, cut out a square piece of plywood, So nothing fancy there, and a marine hatch so I can still get in my cubby where I've got bottle jack, jumper cables, tire puncture repair kit, things of that nature down there. And then this is the ladder to the tent. American Adventure Labs shelf. This has been really nice to add. It really doubles the storage space that it's unusable on there. So pretty much what I've done in the back. This is kind of handy if you've ever done this. You can tap into this power source here, and then I drilled a hole and put this light switch in, and then above your head on the tailgate you can see the lights up here, and this is super handy right when you pull into camp. So, and then lastly, everybody's favorite is the tailgater table. You can't be a Jeeper without a tailgate table. So, but I mean, as far as mods go, simple, but probably the most useful thing I've done. And then because I have the big meaty 38s on there now, I wasn't able to go with the standard tailgate hauler anymore. So what I ended up doing was putting on the heavy-duty tailgate carrier by Rusty's Off-Road, and this thing's a beast, and I can go up to a 40-inch tire on that. The Kraken air inflation system, I added this myself. There's an ARB twin air compressor underneath the driver's seat. There's one of these air inlets on both sides, and then it comes with a hose. There's a dual inlet hose that connects to both tires, and you plug it in right here, and then you've got instant air to air up all 4 tires at the same time. So really handy system, and air up and down just like that. So then the last thing is the little handheld radios are great, but they don't have very good range, and so when I'm in the Jeep, I wanted a bigger radio, so I went with a GMRS Midland radio. 50-watt radio is better than the little handheld.
The beat goes on. The beat goes on.